Welcome to another episode of Cyberside Chats. I'm your host, Jess Coburn, CEO of a managed cloud, IT, and cybersecurity company, Applied Innovations, where we help businesses identify risk and address it before it becomes a problem. Today, businesses across the globe are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. In these first few episodes, focus on what business leaders, owners, and CEOs can do to not just survive, but thrive amid crisis. In this episode of Cyberside Chat, I sit down with Michael Jacobson and we discuss the impact COVID-19 is having on life, disability, and long-term care insurance and how the carriers are pivoting the business model in response. So sit back, relax, and let's chat. Hi, I'm Jess Coburn, CEO of Applied Innovations, and we're here with another episode of Cyberside Chats. Today I have with me Michael Jacobson. Michael's company is M. Jacobson and Associates, and Michael specializes in providing life, disability, and long-term care insurance. Michael, you care to introduce yourself and talk a little about what you do?
Sure. Thanks, Jess. First of all, I want to thank you, Jess, for putting these on. I've been telling a lot of clients and friends and family about this, and I think this is an awesome idea to get everyone to share ideas and just get the word out about working from home, what other people are doing, small businesses, etc. So yes, like you said, I've been in the financial services field for a long time. It's over 35 years. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's breaking up a little bit. Let's see, let's give it a second.
I have a note, your speaker is not working. Please check your connection or use a different speaker.
I can hear you okay now.
Okay.
So you've been doing this for 35 years.
I've been in the financial services field for 35 years.
Okay.
The last 28 doing the insurance advising.
What's your favorite thing about the insurance advising?
I think the thing that I love about it is I'm protecting businesses, I'm protecting families, I'm protecting lives. That to me is sort of what I do in my whole life. I used to be an ice hockey goalie at 6 years old. And reason I was the goalie when we first played street hockey, I was the youngest one on my street in Boston, a neighborhood in Boston, and I was the youngest one. They said, "Okay, kid, you be the goalie." From there, I loved it. I loved protecting the net, keeping the puck out, and I had a long career playing ice hockey through all the way up to all through high school. Didn't get a scholarship to college, but came really close. So for me, the biggest thing is really protecting. God forbid something happens, someone gets disabled, someone dies. Who's going to be there to deliver money? And I've unfortunately had to deliver checks to three close friends who passed away in the last 10 years.
Michael, insurance is a lot like cybersecurity. Businesses don't think about it until they need it. And then when they need it, it's a little too late, right?
Right.
What's really changed in that insurance landscape over the last couple of decades? What's been that big pivot that you've seen, or what do you see on the horizon?
Well, the biggest thing I've seen with the insurance companies, just like a lot of businesses, they need to save money, right? Costs are getting expensive, from labor costs to cost of doing business. And probably the last 10 years, a handful of the insurance companies started using current technology and went paperless. Paperless applications, paperless medical exams, where the old days an examiner would come to your house and ask you your medical history. Now you can do it online. Delivering policies online. Now there's no paper. To me, for someone who's been doing this a long time, and I jumped on it immediately. And not all carriers today do that. There's still some companies that are, yes, please fill out a paper application, fax them to this number, dedicated fax number. It's hard for me to use those companies.
I giggle because we have a fax number. I don't even remember it anymore. The last time I used a fax, I can't remember it. Everything is online filing now, online signatures. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting they have adopted all this technology, right? And today we're sitting here, I'm at home, you're at home. We're both sweating it out with COVID-19. And I'm of the opinion, I think it's probably an obvious question, but this adoption of technology has really kind of helped them with this, you think?
I think it for the companies that were from sort of have not adopted this. I was getting some emails last week from some of the carriers that are they haven't fully done it yet, but they're working towards going to electronic. And the other thing, part of it is a lot of people still pay their insurance premiums by mailing in a check, the old-fashioned way, writing a check and mailing it in. A lot of the insurance companies cannot process them right now because they sent all their their employees home. So they put communications to us to encourage us to tell people to create an online account, pay your premiums online, do it electronically.
So let's jump right into it. So what are the carriers doing right now? What are you hearing from your carriers in regard to the coronavirus and COVID-19?
Sure. Type of insurance I do, the process, and someone has to get an exam. An examiner will come to your house. This is how it's been traditionally. They take some labs, they take your vitals, height and weight, they do your blood pressure. A lot of the carriers were getting away from doing some of that for the younger people. Someone 50 and under, you wanted up to $3 million of life insurance, you wouldn't have anyone coming to see you at all. A telephone interview and everything done electronically. So that's what's been happening right now with the companies saying, hey, we're going to come up with some special programs. We're going to increase those limits. So instead of $1 million, we're going to go to 2 million. Instead of 3 million, we're going to go to 5 million. So they're going to make it easier for people to buy their products who need the protection, who want the protection, without coming in contact with a human. For me, that's huge, because I've been doing these type of meetings either on the phone or Skype or GoToMeeting for over 10 years with my clients, because I service over 2,000 clients in 35 states.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been doing this say 28 years. I don't travel other than locally now. And some of the local people don't even want to see me. So for me, the business as usual, it seems to me it's still business as usual, except that some of the carriers are stepping it up, where they're making it easier for us to do business with them.
So are you seeing, as you interact with carriers today, are you seeing an increase in response times? Have they had to adjust with their workforce? What's going on there?
The communication has been great, mainly email. Some have done telephone, meetings for you dial in, but they've been, it's really been great. I think that what's going to happen to get the business to get an actual policy through the system, it's going to probably take a lot longer. So I think that yes, they're fully staffed. Everyone's working from home. It's just the process is going to just take a little longer, and that's what they're telling us to tell our proposed insurance that it may take a few more weeks to get something done.
Yeah. So Michael, one thing, it's a bit of a pivot off of the talk about coronavirus and COVID-19, but as a business owner, what's the important kind of life insurance, disability insurance? What should I be looking at?
Okay. So as a business owner, for life insurance and disability insurance, the two important things are if you have any key employees. Depending if you're a small business, you want to obviously have personal life insurance to God forbid something happens to you, to replace your income. If you have employees or partners, you may want to have a key person insurance policy to protect that key person. Let's say you have a salesperson. That person is responsible for 50% of your sales, and something happens to that person. You want to have a life insurance policy to protect that person's production. If you have a business partner, something happens to one of the business partners, you want to make sure that your buy-sell agreement provides for life insurance. Most people will have a document that says, hey, this is what happens in the event of a death or disability with a business. But sometimes the business owners don't take the next step and have the policy. They don't fund it. And then on disability, a disability policy will protect the main business owner or owners or partners' primary income. There's also a disability buyout policy that says if one of the partners is disabled, what happens? How are you going to, pay that person their income? Even though they're an owner, you might not have the cash flow because that person was so vital to 50% of the business. You want to make sure there's income coming in. And the last one is a disability overhead policy. And this is really important because I got the most calls up to today for the past week on people who bought a disability business overhead policy. And a disability business overhead policy covers the business expenses if the insured or the owner, whoever the owners are, gets disabled. It will cover their rent, employee salaries, their insurance policies, their malpractice if they're a doctor, the utilities. And a lot of people got those confused with business interruption insurance. And I clearly told them this is disability insurance. And sometimes people just forget because they thought that it covered their expenses. So I had about 8 calls the past week about how does this work? How do I file a claim under my business overhead policy? So those are the main policies you should have as business owners.
But that disability policy, I mean, that would be kind of a nice thing to have right now if you were, potentially impacted by this personally, right?
Correct.
That would provide that coverage.
Absolutely. You couldn't work in any sickness for disability, any sickness or injury that keeps you from doing your job. There's usually a 90-day waiting period, but after 90 days, if you're it's long term. So if something happens, they'll pay you a benefit to age 65, 67, 70, depending on what you purchase. So I think that it's getting people thinking about their mortality, their morbidity. What if I do get the virus? What if I die? I've had calls that, hey, can we review? I've already had calls the past week too. Can we review my life insurance? I want to make sure I have enough coverage. So I think because of this, it's going to get people still thinking about all those things.
Interesting. Now, you've worked from home or you're working from home. What do you do to be productive and work from home?
Okay. So I think you may have said this in one of your other Cyberside chats, but I'm a big routine guy. I get up at the same time. I have 2 rescue dogs that I make sure I walk them, they get their exercise, and then I need to exercise. So I get up usually around 6 o'clock, 6:30, spend about 45 minutes, an hour with the dogs, and then I do some exercise, make a smoothie, shower, I'm ready to work. So I have to have that routine and stick to it. Also on Mondays and Fridays are my planning days. And I try not to have any appointments in person, locally in person, or on the phone on Mondays and Fridays. I try to squeeze everything into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Because again, I need time to process a business. There are phone calls that come in for servicing, especially with 2,000 clients. I do have a team of service people around me, but everything has to filter through me first, and then I can delegate it out.
That's nice that you set 2 days aside and you plan that out just for planning and just for taking care of other things and not dealing with, everything else that comes up or time to catch up on those things that have come up and you haven't been able to deal with that. That's fantastic advice, I think.
And also, when you work from home, it's our own business. I'll take an appointment if someone wants to talk to me at 8 o'clock at night or Saturday or Sunday. I have no problem doing that.
So that brings me to an interesting topic that came up with a couple of other speakers. Devin and Shelby, I asked them about work-life balance and work-life integration. Devin mentioned that, look, I don't believe in work-life balance. I believe in work-life integration, that when I'm working and I'm living, they're kind of one and the same. Shelby was along the same way. I'm curious where you land on that.
I think I look at it the same. To me, I'm the business. I carve out time for, my kids are all grown. They're all out of the house. So for me, I make sure I take care of myself. I exercise a lot. I cycle is my biggest passion. I ride over 5,000 miles a year. I recently got a spinning bike, not knowing this was going to happen, but I got a spinning bike last month. And it was like perfect timing because now I can't do group rides, or I refuse to do group rides. So I can set up a little gym in my garage, a little fans in there, and I'm cycling in there. So for me, I'll do whatever I can for my clients. So for me, I look at it, it's the same.
So you're a work-life integration guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think that's because this is your passion and it's what you've loved to do since you were 6 years old and that goalie on the...
I think it is. I really don't think about it like that. But for me to get up every day and have energy, for 28 years, really doing very narrow, really 3 types of insurance, I just want to help people. And I get a lot of referrals, and that's what I live for.
I wonder if that's the drive that keeps us successful as entrepreneurs, that, we see it as that passion and something we love to do, and we just want to keep doing it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought about it that way. Now, Michael, what about working from home? So you talked about, that you like your schedule and everything, your productivity. Do you find that it's ever difficult to work from home, or that you have to go in the office?
Well, right now I don't have an actual office. I had an executive suite for about 7 or 8 years. And really, working with physicians and business owners, and especially I do this all over the country, no one really comes to see me.
Yeah.
So working from home, I have a dedicated room and a home office that's mine. It becomes a den at night if I want during football season. It's my room. It also could be a guest room. Now that my kids are home because of 2 had to leave New York, so they're here. So it's almost like when I first started working from home, they were young. All the 3 kids were young. So before I got on the call, I sent a text to everyone. Okay, guys, 3 o'clock for the next 45 minutes to an hour. Don't have too much fun. And they're all spread out throughout the house, Jess.
I love that you had to text your family that's all in the same house. That's awesome.
But remember too, I have 2 rescue dogs, and one's attached to me. And I'll show you separately a picture my son took last week, that the dog had his ear against the door, eavesdropping, and like waiting patiently for me to let him in. He's probably outside my door right now.
Yeah, Buster, my dog, and you probably heard him barking. I heard it echo through there. He'll get down on his front 2 feet, and he'll just kind of sit there and stare underneath the door and wait till I open the door.
Maybe see some movement or a shadow, and know hey, you're gonna let me in.
Yeah. It's you got to love it. So I'm sure the kids are out there with him too, wondering when Daddy's going to open the door as well. Now, as far as we talked about working from home, for the employees that are working from home and for the managers, how do you manage your team? How do you keep your team, that communication going?
So I set up expectations, things that I do, so the people around me know my routine. And so they know that I'm pretty demanding, meaning I'm really fighting for my clients. So if my clients need service, I had a call today, someone said they're having little issues, they're closing down their office, they don't want to pay their insurance premium. What are my options? So I want to make sure that I need to get those answers from my team, and they're working. They're on the same schedule as I am. Obviously, they're not working past 6 o'clock.
Right.
But if I text some of my team at 8 o'clock at night a question, just because they want to leave it till the next morning, I'm going to get a response 9 times out of 10 from them.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point, though, about not even wanting to pay their premium to the carrier. Are the carriers giving some deferral of premiums?
Yes. A couple of the carriers have already announced that if you have a premium due, they're going to extend the grace period to June 1st.
Fantastic.
And we're going to see what happens. They're not going to lapse policies. They're not going to charge interest. But I only heard from 2 companies, and I represent all the major ones. So there's at least 30 I represent, and only 2 so far said that.
I know someone had mentioned that American Express was doing something similar for business owners. So I think that's fantastic too. I think it's going to be very interesting in the next couple of months, and challenging.
Yeah, well, just like we said earlier, when this is all over, people are going to remember how you acted during this time. If some companies giving concessions, or again, you still have to pay the premium, but they're giving you more time. You know,
Which is valuable.
one of the carriers, basically their statement was prepared, comma, not scared. Basically saying, hey, we've been around for 160 years. We've seen this before. We're fine financially. We're paying claims. You know, we're taking applications. We're issuing policies. It was a strong message. That was one of they sent out a playbook on Friday, a 10-page playbook, and then a lot of links to click for articles to send to people. And then this morning they had a teleconference for about an hour and a half. They allow you to answer, you know, they allow you to ask questions. It was just so rewarding that I could tell a client that had this company that was concerned about, you know, the stock market. Hey, the market's tanking again. You know, these people have permanent life insurance. Well, guess what? Your policy's fine. You're not losing any money. And everything that I do nothing is tied to the market. So it's safe, secure. So imagine having a big, strong insurance company saying, hey, don't worry, we got you. We're going to take care of you.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Michael.
Rewarding.
I bet. Now, Michael, before we end it here, what else would you like to share, or what did we not talk about you'd like to talk about?
Well, I know we talked a lot. I just want to make sure that people know that I'm trying to get a positive word out to my clients. And I've told a lot of clients, hey, if you have any friends that want to talk about this, people afraid of the market, they're concerned about their own health and safety, you know, I'm a resource for them. I'm not looking to sell them a policy. If they want to buy something, of course, but if they need someone to talk to, a calm voice to make you feel, you know, safe, secure, you know, I'm that person.
Fantastic, Michael. I appreciate it. And if people wanted to reach out to you and get in touch with you, how do they find you?
Sure. There's two ways. My cell phone is 305-710-2908, or my website is mjacobson.com, mjacobson.com. And there's a lot of information on there to how to find me.
I'll make sure I include that in the show notes. Michael, I appreciate you taking time to meet with me and to chat. And by all means, you know, stay safe and stay home. And I look forward to seeing those pictures of the dogs and the kids.
Absolutely.
And have fun. All right.
Thanks, Jess. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.